We have a new legal development in ICE and Trump's attempt to threaten and intimidate Los Angeles. Well, the Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass promised that the city was going to stand up to ICE, and it has. It has joined a significant lawsuit filed by the ACLU, Public Counsel, United Farm Workers, and others against ICE. My name is Dina Doll with the MeidasTouch Network. Let's break down what is in this lawsuit. But first, let's hear from Mayor Karen Bass herself and the exclusive statement she gave to MeidasTouch after ICE tried to intimidate the communities of Los Angeles when they sent horses and militarized troops through MacArthur Park, a very busy and popular park just outside downtown Los Angeles, where the population of that community is largely, if not all, Hispanic, some of which may be undocumented. This show of force, which reports say that was basically the whole point of it, resulted in exactly 0 arrests. Mayor Karen Bass showed up, spoke up, and said that this was just the beginning of the city standing up. Take a listen to what she said.
Just finished working with our city attorney to file a lawsuit because we have to stop this mess. You know, the idea of having troops go through the park and disrupt a children's summer camp or drive through the streets and just pick people off the streets. We don't know if a kidnapping is happening or what. And so our city attorney is leading the way. We're filing a lawsuit. We're calling for an injunction for this to stop. We need to remember who we are as a country. I'm very clear as to who we are as a city, and I'm clear about my job, which is to make sure that this city is safe for all Angelenos, regardless of when you came here, what country you came from, or why. We got to stop it. And I know, you know what? We're going to stand strong because this city is united. We are not divided, and we're not going to let anybody divide us.
The city of Los Angeles, as well as some of the neighboring cities, including West Hollywood, Culver City, Pasadena, and others, have moved to join this existing lawsuit by the ACLU. The ACLU has filed a class action for all the people that have been affected by this ICE deportation strategy, let's call it, in Los Angeles. They are asking a federal district court judge to issue a preliminary injunction from moving anybody outside the jurisdiction, from deporting anyone. It's also asking for the judge to declare unconstitutional against the Fourth and Fifth Amendment rights of the people for various things that ICE is doing, including the conditions that they're housed in. They're saying that these detention centers have no showers, no beds in some case, that they also are racially profiling people as they are rounding them up, as we see in real time. Let's get into some of the things that they are saying in this lawsuit. The complaint calls out the racial profiling that we have been seeing in news reports in real time. Again and again, U.S. citizens are being detained by ICE because of the way that they look. Here is what they say exactly in the complaint, that, quote, the raids in this district follow a common systemic pattern. Individuals with brown skin are approached or pulled aside by unidentified federal agents suddenly and with a show of force, and made to answer questions about who they are and where they are from. I can think of nothing less American than that. It goes on to say, if they hesitate, attempt to leave, or do not answer the questions to the satisfaction of the agents, they are detained, sometimes tackled, handcuffed, and are taken into custody. In these interactions, agents typically have no prior information about the individual and no warrant of any kind. If agents make an arrest, contrary to federal law, they do not make any determination of whether a person poses a risk of flight before a warrant can be obtained. Also contrary to federal law, the agents do not identify themselves or explain why the individual is being arrested. If you've been following with MeidasTouch, you have heard this happening. If you've been seeing with your own eyes videos of this happening, thankfully now this is being compiled in a lawsuit to stand up. And not only these really important organizations like ACLU and Public Counsel, but now the weight of the city of Los Angeles behind it, standing up for its community. And then in terms of the actual detention centers, the complaint goes on to say, further, apparently, to accommodate the sharp rise in arrests, the government has resorted to keeping individuals at what is supposed to be a short-term processing center, an ICE basement holding area in downtown Los Angeles known as B18, often for days. In these dungeon-like facilities, conditions are deplorable and unconstitutional. The government has also unlawfully deprived those arrested of access to counsel. We saw reports, especially after that first weekend where ICE came to Los Angeles. Public Counsel said many times they had tried to reach people inside to offer them free legal services, and they were denied access. It goes on to say, under such conditions, some of those arrested are pressured into accepting voluntary departure. The government is aware of this. So we now have documented in a court filing and a district judge here, federal court, asking the court to declare these actions unconstitutional, asking for some preliminary injunctions. The city of Los Angeles joining this very important and significant lawsuit. And again, the city of Los Angeles is already defending a lawsuit from the Department of Justice. I did a hot take on this not that long ago, where the Department of Justice suing the city of Los Angeles because of its sanctuary policies. We saw the Department of Justice memo directing civil attorneys across the country, or federal civil attorneys across the country, to go after sanctuary cities. So City of Los Angeles is already having to defend that lawsuit. And now, because of the increased tactics that ICE is taking in its city, I mean, ICE is the one picking this fight. Let's just for 1 second talk about the fact that Abbott and DeSantis were sending planes to people, and they were supposedly in a crisis. Trump isn't sending them there. He's sending them to the city of Los Angeles, despite the fact that although we are a border state, we are also the fourth largest economy in the world. Immigrants and undocumented immigrants make our state and our economy better. In fact, Los Angeles officials are saying that the ICE tactics are hurting our economy. They're hurting our economy, and Gavin Newsom has said it is slowing down the reconstruction after the Palisades and Altadena fires. So here, this is something Mayor Bass is doing, filing this lawsuit, not only standing up for the community, but this is also having very real economic effects to the city as well. This lawsuit is a class action, which is interesting. We're going to see a lot more class actions since the Supreme Court has decided that nationwide injunctions can no longer be used to stop lawless actions. This class action is limited to people within the district which this lawsuit is filed, but it is dealing with 3 different classes. They're saying that one of the classes has to do with anybody who has been stopped by ICE since June 6th that didn't otherwise have some sort of suspicious activity. They did nothing suspicious before ICE stopped them. That's one class. The other one has to do with people that were stopped by ICE also after June 6th that never had a warrant. ICE didn't have a warrant for their arrest. And then the third group is that, again, people who were stopped since June 6th, where the federal agents failed to identify them as immigration fail to identify themselves. So 3 different groups of people, one who were committing no suspicious activity, another one where there's no warrant, and a third one where they didn't identify themselves. And there could even be some overlap of the people, but giving them 3 specific classes. And the reason why, in order to certify yourselves as a class, you have to have some sort of commonality where you have the same law and facts apply to them, to you all. And you could have somebody who maybe did nothing suspicious, but the federal agent did identify themselves, let's say. So that's why you have 3 different things, and they all go to the areas of which this complaint is doing, which is that the federal agents are breaking the law by not identifying themselves, that they are racially profiling. They're not just arresting people who did something suspicious. They are racially profiling, and they are not showing a warrant. And the things that they are asking the court to do, they are asking the court to not only certify this action as a class action, they're asking them to appoint counsel for the plaintiffs that are affected in the class. They're asking that the court declare that defendant, the ICE here, policy, pattern, and practice of conducting stops without reasonable suspicions violate the 4th Amendment of the Constitution. This is the racial profiling part. They are asking the court to declare that the defendant's policy, pattern, and practice of making warrantless arrests without individualized flight risk determinations violate the law and the Administrative Procedures Act. Asking the court to declare that defendant's policy, pattern, and practice of failing to identify the authority and reasons for arrest, again, violate federal law and the EPA, and declaring that defendant's denial of access to counsel violates the Due Process Clause of the 5th Amendment of the Constitution, asking the court to declare that the defendant's policy and practice of denying access to counsel violate the rights of the access detention plaintiffs under the law and the APA, and asking the court to declare that the conditions of confinement imposed by the defendants at that B-18 detention center violate the 5th Amendment of the Constitution. They're asking for a preliminary and permanent injunction to have ICE stop basically violating the plaintiff's rights. They're asking the court to vacate the policies and join them, as I said, from transferring people outside of the jurisdiction or from deporting them. A significant lawsuit filed again by these nonprofit organizations that has just been joined by the city of Los Angeles and some of its neighboring cities. My name is Dina Doll with the MeidasTouch Network. Be sure to hit the free subscribe button to get updates on this and the many other legal developments to come.
The truth is more important than ever. Check out our new Truth Over Lies collection at store.meidastouch.com. All 100% USA union made.